Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. Welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. And things are a little calmer this week in the secondary market. There's still a lot of activity, though. Most of it is based around the fact that a lot of players picked up Commander Legends cards, and now they're trying to build new Commander decks around many of those cards. We'll go into all the details in just a moment. Quickly, though, before we get started, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, they do have Caltagirone products for pre-order up on the website. For example, if you want to pick up a Collector Booster Box, once you use the Heroes promo code, it goes down to $216. And that does include shipping in the United States. Whenever you make a purchase from the website that is over $100, or if your order only consists of singles, shipping is free in the US, and they do have Commander Legends singles up there now if there's anything you're looking for from that set. Also, whenever you use the promo code, of course, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you, and without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with Standard in your top 7 Standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Coming in at number 7 is a fixture on this list that is Teferi, Master of Time, going down 67 cents to $12.27. This does get a little standard play, sometimes in like Jeskai Control, for example. In Commander, though, you'll find the card a little more frequently. Many times it's in Atraxa, Praetor's Voice decks there. And now it is seeing increased play in new builds like Obeka Brute Chronologist. Number 6 is Skyclave Apparition. This goes down 76 cents this week to $7.24. It retracts a little bit, but it is still a highly played card in a lot of different places. In Standard, you'll find this in Esper Doom Foretold, Mono White Aggro, and more. It gets some Pioneer play. It's a huge card in Modern right now. Heliod Company, Eladamri's Toolbox, Death and Taxes, and more all play it. Also sees a good amount of Legacy play as well as a little Commander play. Number 5 is the original copy of Azusa Lost But Seeking from Champions of Kamigawa. It goes down 76 cents to $18.23. This card's been pretty soft ever since it was reprinted in Core Set 2021. Now, it doesn't see a whole lot of Standard play or anything, but you will find this in Modern Amulet Titan decks. And it's a huge Commander card that is getting more play in that format ever since Zendikar Rising and Commander Legends brought us more cards focused around land strategies. Number 4 is Agadeem's Awakening. This goes down after a small bump last week, down 84 cents to $15.72. Another card that is seeing play in a lot of places. In Standard, you'll find this in Dimir Control, Dimir Rogues, and more. Pioneer, it's in Oops All Spells, Vampires, Rakdos Pyromancer. Modern, it's in Oops All Spells there. Sometimes Rakdos Death Shadow and more. Also sees Legacy and Commander play. Number 3, Elder Gargaroth. This goes down 99 cents to $12.89. This was a huge Standard card last season. Doesn't see nearly as much play in the current meta, though. It does get a little Pioneer play sometimes in Mono Green Planeswalkers, for example. Also, this does see some Modern sideboard play and a little Commander play as well. Number 2 is Lotus Cobra. Now, this is another card that was reprinted in Zendikar Rising. Ever since that happened, the other copies have been soft. This week, Iconic Masters goes down 70 cents to $6.62. Zendikar goes down $1.09 to $9.99. Currently, this is not seeing much Standard play, just a little bit here or there. In Pioneer, though, this is in 4-color Omnith, Naya Winota. It also sees a lot of Commander play. Again, remember, there's been a big focus on land strategies ever since Zendikar Rising, as well as Commander Legends came out. And number 1 is Brazen Borrower, but this is the copy from the list trying to find its price point. It goes down $1.10 this week to $34.86, still very high. I would expect this to lose more value in the coming weeks. It is a good card, though. In Standard, it's in Dimir Rogues, many times Temur Ramp and more. It sees Pioneer play, it sees Modern play, it sees Legacy play, and of course it sees Commander play too in popular builds as well. Things like Enowan the Rune Thief, for example, Nimra Una's Trickster, and more. And that brings us to the top 6 Standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 6 is Thassa's Oracle, up 18 cents to $5.27. This doesn't see a lot of Standard play, but it does see a little Pioneer play in Mono Blue Tempo, and sometimes it's in the sideboard of Oops All Spells there. Modern, it's in Ad Nauseam and other decks in that format. Legacy, it's in Doomsday and other places there too. Vintage, it's in Doomsday decks as well. But maybe most notably, this has been a very popular Commander card. It's in a lot of builds, and you can find it in new ones too, including Arami of the Dead Tide and Quain Itinerant Meddler. On top of all that, this card also got a Command Zone mention this week too. Number 5 is Grim Tutor, the copy from Starter 1999. It goes up 21 cents to $128.31. This card was losing a lot of value recently. Looks like maybe for the time being it is stabilizing. This, of course, was reprinted in Core Set 2021. Now, this doesn't see a ton of standard play, but it is a tutor, so it does continue to see a good amount of play in various builds in Commander. This also got a Command Zone mention this week as well. Number 4 is Bella Ged Recovery, up 22 cents to $1.92, and this is another card you don't see a ton of in Standard, but in Pioneer it's an Oops All Spells and Lotus combo. Also, it shows up occasionally in Modern, and Commander this has quickly become a highly played card though in many builds. Number 3 is Trulane Teller of Tales from Throne of Eldraine. It goes up 32 cents to $3.49. Now this is the non-foil copy that you might find in collector boosters, and this was recently reprinted in the list, but nevertheless this copy is still going up a little bit this week. This has been a very popular commander and has also seen increased play in the format recently in Omnith Locus of Creation builds. Number 2, Nyx Bloom Ancient, up 44 cents to $18.03. This has been a very popular commander card ever since it was released. Now it is appearing in new builds, most notably Yurlok of Scorched Thrash. And number 1, this card has been hot recently. The Great Henge goes up $1.34 to $32.05. In Standard, you'll find this in Gruul and Golgari Adventures, Mono Green Food, Temur Ramp, and much more. Pioneer, it's in Mono Green Planeswalkers. It's also a big commander card, seeing more play now in new builds like Hamza Guardian of Arashen and much more. And that brings us to the top 7 Pioneer legal cards that have lost value this week. Number 7 is Omnith Locus of Creation, down 80 cents to $9.05. This has been losing value ever since it was banned in Standard not too long ago. In Pioneer, it is in 4-color Omnith and Niv to Light and more there. Also in Modern, you'll find this in Uro Omnith and other decks in that format as well. Plus, this is a very popular commander and shows up in other builds in the format too. Number 6 is Monastery Mentor. This is the copy from the list. It goes down 80 cents to $15. And this is not really a big Pioneer card, but it does have a presence in Modern, Legacy, and Commander. However, this card makes its biggest impact in Vintage. Number 5 is Scape Shift. This is the Morningtide copy. Third verse, same as the first. This one also goes down 80 cents to $20.44. This is another card that doesn't see Pioneer play necessarily, but it is in Modern Scape Shift, and it's another huge commander card. Much like a lot of the cards we're talking about today, this is seeing increased play because of the focus on land strategies in Zendikar Rising and Commander Legends. Number 4 is Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. It goes down 80 cents as well to $47.78. This card has actually been pretty turbulent recently. It does see a lot of play though. Mono Green Planeswalkers will play this in Pioneer. Modern, it's in Tron. Legacy, it's in Mono Green Cloudpost. And in Commander, this is frequently found in Kozilek the Great Distortion builds and many others, including new decks like Belby Corrupted Observer. Number 3 is Omnith Locus of Rage from Battle for Zendikar, going down 87 cents to $4.41. This was recently reprinted not once but twice. It's in the Zendikar Rising Commander deck Land's Wrath. It's also in the list. It is a popular commander card, and again, it is seeing more play because of the land strategies that are popular right now in the format. Number 2 is Thoughtseize from Theros, down 96 cents to $13.99. This was reprinted in Double Masters, which is why it is soft right now, but the card sees a ton of play. It's just a staple in multiple formats, not just Pioneer. Also, you'll see a lot of this in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and even to some degree it shows up in Commander. And number 1 is Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, the one from Planar Chaos. This has been turbulent too. It goes down $1.13 this week to $28.40. And in Pioneer, you'll see this in Mono Black Aggro, Vampires, Rakdos Pyromancer, also sees Modern and Legacy play, plus it is a highly played commander card. Time for the top 8 Pioneer legal cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 8 is Hellkite Tyrant from Commander 2016. It goes up 56 cents to $14.81. This is a popular commander card in Kelly of the Vast decks and much more, but it is seeing increased play now in some new builds around Negan the Cold-Blooded from the Walking Dead Secret Lair, and the partner commander Togo Goblin Weaponsmith from Commander Legends. Number 7 is Growing Rights of Itlimoc. This goes up 56 cents to $18.81 this week. Very popular commander card, seeing more play now in those Abomination of Llanowar builds. This may also be getting a push from a leak. We actually saw the front-facing commanders for the Kaldheim commander decks, and in particular, the Commander Larhill Blade of the Elves might be interested in this, perhaps as a potential upgrade to that deck. I won't give you any additional information about the 2 cards that were leaked in case you do want to wait until they're officially previewed, but you can always Google it if you are curious. Number 6 is Combat Celebrant. It goes up 57 cents to $7.89. Solid commander card in builds like Winota Joiner of Forces and Nagila the Blade Blossom. Number 5 is Door of Destinies from Morningtide. It goes up 58 cents to $15. Great tribal commander card. It's in popular builds like Edgar Markov. Also getting additional play now in new builds like Abomination of Llanowar. And remember, Commander Legends also brought us a lot of new pirates. There's a lot of players building around those cards currently in Commander. And above and beyond all that, this is a card that could play well potentially with those Keldheim leaked cards we talked about earlier. Both of them have tribal elements attached to them. I mentioned the name of one earlier, Larhill, Blade of the Elves. The second one is Ranar the Ever-Watchful. Number 4, Emrakul, the Promised End, up 60 cents to 37.11. This actually does see Pioneer play. It's in Sultai Delirium and more there. Sometimes it's even in Modern Tron, but it also does see Commander play too. You'll find this in Kozilek, the Great Distortion and more there. And it is seeing increased play in that format around some new cards, for example, Belby Corrupted Observer. Number 3 is Time Stream Navigator, up 69 cents to 7.49. This is another card that got a push in Commander due to those pirates introduced in Commander Legends. Number 2 is another card that sees Pioneer play. It is Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. It goes up $1.08 to 24.76. You'll find this one in Esper and Azorius Control, as well as Jeskai Super Friends. Modern, it's in Uro Omnith and more there. Additionally, as you might have guessed, this is also in a number of Commander builds, new and old. Most notably, many times you'll find this in Atraxa Praetor's voice decks. And number 1 is Crucible of Worlds 5th Dawn, up $1.19 to $50.22. The 10th edition copy up $1.38 to $53.19. Not really a Pioneer card, but it is in Modern Tron builds, Vintage Golos decks, and more. But as you already know, this is a highly played Commander card in Lands builds and more. And again, like we've already said in the video a number of times now, those Lands builds have gotten quite a push recently. This also got a Command Zone mention this week too. That takes us to the top 9 modern legal cards that have lost value this week, and there's some interesting ones here. Number 9 is Liliana of the Veil from Modern Masters 2017. This goes down $1.75 to $54.71. Feels like it's been a long time since this card has been this affordable. It does see Modern play in Jund, sometimes Rakdos midrange and more. Also sees a little Legacy play, but not as much as it used to see. Recently, it did get a little push in Commander, showing up in Tiny Bones Trinket Thief builds. Number 8 is Jace the Mind Sculptor, another old-time favorite here. This is the one from Eternal Masters, going down $1.89 to $60. Now, this was reprinted in Double Masters, which is why it is soft right now. Sees Modern play in Uro Omnith, Control builds, and more. Also gets Legacy Vintage and Commander play. Number 7 is Verdant Catacombs. This is the one from Modern Masters 2017. It goes down $2 to $52.26. Now, enemy fetch lands have been reprinted and distributed in a few different products this year. Most recently, they were reprinted as Zendikar Rising Expeditions. Next year, they're going to get another printing in Modern Horizons 2. So overall, generally, they have been pretty soft recently. In Modern, you'll find this one in Jund builds and more. Also, like all of these fetch lands, this sees play in Legacy Vintage and Commander 2. Number 6 is Polluted Delta from Onslaught. It goes down $2.09 this week to $48.44. Recently reprinted as a Zendikar Rising Expedition as well. But this did spike pretty heavily not too long ago, and it is still normalizing after that spike. You will find this one in Modern Sultai Uro and much more. Also, again, sees playing Legacy Vintage and Commander. Number 5 is Send Triplets from Alara Reborn. This goes down $2.19 to $14.19. Very popular Commander. Also can show up in the 99 of a lot of builds too. And it has been soft ever since it got reprinted as a foil in the retail Mystery Booster product. Number 4 is Wrath of God from Portal, down $2.20 to $10.23. Huge Commander board sweep card for white. Now, this was recently reprinted in Double Masters, but it was reprinted in the list as well, and this is the version of the card they actually used for the list copy. Number 3, Misty Rainforest, the copy from the Secret Lair Ultimate Edition, down $2.20 to $67.24. Other than this reprinting, like I mentioned earlier, this was also reprinted as a Zendikar Rising Expedition, and it will get reprinted next year in Modern Horizons 2 as well. You'll find this in Modern Uro Omnith and much more there. Also sees Legacy Vintage and Commander play. Number 2 is Ball Lightning from the Dark. This spiked recently ever since it has been declining. It goes down $2.49 to $23.75. This does see a little Commander play. And number 1 is Flagstones of Trocaire. This is the copy from Time Spiral, another card that has been really hot recently, starting to retract and normalize. It goes down $4.53 this week to $19.20. You will find this in Modern Eladamri's Toolbox, Jeskai Control, also see some Legacy and Commander play too. Time for the top 5 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 5 is Pact of Negation from Future Sight. Now, this was reprinted in the list and it did lose a little value when that happened. Has a rebound week though, going up $2.83 to $38.09. This does see play in Modern Ad Nauseam, Oops All Spells, and more. Also appears in some Legacy builds. Additionally, it's getting some increased play in Commander. You'll find this in Obeka Brute Chronologist decks many times and some other new builds too. Phantasmal Image comes in at number 4, and this has seen increased Commander play in builds with Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, and some other new cards from Commander Legends. This is also in Modern Humans. The Modern Masters 2017 copy up $1.30 to $12.81. The Magic 2012 copy goes up $3.18 to $13.99. Akroma's Memorial comes in at number 3, and this is seeing some more Commander play now with Akroma Vision of Vexador, that's a partner commander from Commander Legends, as well as some other new cards from that set. The copy from the list goes up $1.11 to $34.97. Future Sight up $3.35 to $34.89. Number 2, this card remains hot. It is Mindbreak Trap. It's a huge sideboard card in Legacy and Vintage. It protects against storm strategies. This goes up $4.94 this week to $18.73. And number 1 is Mycosynth Golem, the 5th Dawn copy up $1.11 to $23. The copy from the list in theory is going up $39.43 to $77.12, but really that's not the case. There's just not a lot of copies of that particular version of the card online right now. So without a lot of data points, you're getting some skewed data. I don't really think it's intentional market manipulation. I mean, maybe it is, but for the most part, I think it's just bad data. When it comes to purchases, when you find somebody actually finding a copy of the card and buying it, they usually spend between $10 and $16. With that being said, though, it is a solid card in Commander Artifact builds and has seen increased play now in Tech Salvage Splicer and Rebecca Architect of Ascension builds. And that's going to take us all the way to the Vintage Spotlights, and this is where we talk about cards that see play in Legacy, Vintage, 93, 94, or cards that are just popular among collectors. First, we have Gilded Drake. This is on the reserve list. It goes up $3.11 to $240.74. You will find this one in Legacy Esper Vial. It's also getting some increased Commander play in Arami of the Dead Tide builds and more. Force of Will, the copy from Eternal Masters, goes up $3.51 to $99.40. This is rebounding after some losses due to the reprinting in Double Masters, sees Legacy, Vintage, and Commander play. Next we have Scrubland from Revised that is on the reserve list going up $4.32 this week to $227.55. Badlands from Revised on the reserve list up $5.12 to $335.99. Mind's Eye Diamond on the reserve list, it goes up $6.89 to $343.87. This gets Legacy play in Doomsday, Karn Echoes, and more. Also gets play in Vintage and Commander as well. Reverberation on the reserve list, this goes up $12.31 this week to $63. Keldon Warlord, the copy from Unlimited, has a pretty big percentage jump this week. It goes up $13.86 to $21.13. Field of Dreams, this one is on the reserve list. It goes up $21.40 to $196. Sedge Troll from Unlimited, this is on the reserve list, but it did get reprinted one more time and revised. It goes up $21.90 to $101.89. Aladdin's Lamp, this is the copy from Arabian Nights. It goes up $26.25 to $93.74. Gaia's Cradle from Urza Saga, this is on the reserve list, but it did get a reprinting as a Judge Foil before they closed that loophole. This copy, though, goes up $29.20 this week to $749.99. It sees Legacy play in Elves and more, also gets some Vintage play, and it's a great Commander card if you're lucky enough to own one. Good in some new builds too, like Omnithocus of Creation, Abomination of Llanowar, and more. Serendib Efreet, this is the one from Arabian Nights. It goes up $41.23 this week to $461.25. Alright, from this point forward in the section, you're going to see some big jumps. It's not really due to market manipulation in most cases. There's one exception to that I'll point out later. What you're seeing for most of these cards is just the fact that you had some higher grade copies that were for sale or in some cases even sold out there. And that's why the price is jumping a little bit. This is Drop of Honey on the reserve list. It goes up $104.52 to $9.99. Volcanic Island from Unlimited on the reserve list, but of course it did get reprinted and revised. It goes up $104.89 to $1,100. All Hallows Eve on the reserve list up $131.70 to $4.99. Candelabra of Tawnos also on the reserve list up $133.81 to $1,099.99. Tawnos' Coffin on the reserve list up $136.94 to $295.93. Time Vault from Unlimited on the reserve list up $222.88 to $1,300. City of Brass from Arabian Nights, and as you can see in this section, there's a lot of cards that are just high-grade copies of older cards, even if they're not on the reserve list, that still garner a lot of interest from collectors, like this one. This is going up $270.05 to $724.99. Here's another example, Mishra's Factory. 3 different copies from Antiquities going up in value pretty significantly this week. The summer variant up $23.47 to $94.99. The fall variant up $31 to $119.99. And the winter variant jumping $337.95 to $620.14. Again, that's moving because you had higher grade copies for sale this week. And finally for this section, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. It goes up $662.88 to $3,375, or does it? Well, there's a little market manipulation occurring here. I have seen high-grade copies selling on average for about $2,500 for the really high-grade ones. I assume if you were to find a perfect copy, maybe it could go for a price like this, but it really isn't the average right now out there in the marketplace. And that's going to take us to the Commander Spotlight. We got a lot of cards to talk about, so let's get right into it. You have Crater Hoof Behemoth to start things off. This is the one from Avacyn Restored, going up $1.01 to $45.99. This is seeing increased Commander play in Abomination of Llanowar and some other new builds. Also, it's in Legacy Elves. Tooth and Nail, the copy from Mirrodin, goes up $1.03 to $22.56. Popular Commander card, seeing more play now in Belby Corrupted Observer builds. Doubling Season, the copy from Battlebond, still hot, goes up $1.03 to $44.19. Recently reprinted in Double Masters, this did lose some value when that happened. This particular copy has been rebounding at least a little bit over the last couple weeks though. It is a highly played Commander card and attracts a Praetor's Voice and much more in the format, and it is seeing some increased play now in builds like Hamza Guardian of Varashen, plus it did get a Command Zone mention this week. Steel Shaper's Gift up $1.12 to $20.99. This card was pretty hot last week because of Commander. It's been seeing additional play in Akiri Fearless Voyager, Wireless Soul of Steel, also with the partner Commander, Ardent Intrepid Archaeologist, and more. But the reason it's getting hot this week has more to do with Modern. This is in Colossus Hammer builds, and Spider Space MTG's list did very well this week on MTGO. Phyrexian Tower, this was reprinted recently in the list, but the Urza Saga copy goes up this week at $1.13 to $28.99. Sees lots of Commander play in different builds. Scarecrow, the copy from the list, trying to find its price point. It goes up $1.14 to $10.99. This is in Commander Reaper King builds and more. Sliver Legion from Future Sight up $1.16 to $96.29, and this is in Sliver builds and Commander, which are very popular. Vesuva, the copy from the list, up $1.17 to $32.50, and this is a great Commander card. It sees playing in a lot of different builds. Also in Modern, you'll find it in Amulet Titan, Eladamri's Toolbox, and more. Legacy, it's in Mono Green Cloud Post and more there. Intuition from Tempest, this is on the reserve list, but it did get a copy printed as a Judge Foil again before they closed that loophole. As a matter of fact, you might have noticed that Judge Foil is being massively manipulated on the secondary market right now if you look at the major websites, so be careful if you're in the market to buy that one. But this one goes up $1.19 to $134.92. This is a solid Commander card, seeing more play now in Arami of the Dead Tide. Also in Legacy, you'll find this in Omnitel. Polluted Bonds up $1.21 to $24.96. This is seeing more play in Commander builds like Lisa Shroud of the Dark and Urlock of Scorched Thrash. Winding Canyons on the reserve list. It goes up $1.24 to $30.37. This is getting some additional Commander play in a few builds like Obeka Brute Chronologist. Sword of Fire and Ice, the copy for Modern Masters. This was losing a lot of value recently since it was reprinted in Double Masters. This week, though, it goes up $1.24 to $54.99. And you will find this in a lot of different Commander decks. It is seeing some increased play now in builds like Akiri Fearless Voyager, Wireless Soul of Steel, Ardent Intrepid Archaeologist, along with Rogrock, Son of Roga. Plus a number of other new builds are running it too. In Modern, it's in Death and Taxes and Banned Snowblade, as well as other decks there. Legacy, you'll find it in Death and Taxes and more there too. Mana Flare. After many weeks of the 5th edition copy going up in value, we now see the 5th edition copy starting to go down, and the 4th edition copy going up $1.25 to $8.98. This is a solid Commander card, seeing more play now in new builds, most notably though Urlock of Scorched Thrash. Bloodchief Ascension, this is up $1.26 to $25.34, another popular Commander card that is getting increased play now in builds like Lisa Shroud of the Dusk and Anawan the Rune Thief. Pariah's Shield up $1.34 to $12. This is getting a small push from some of the equipment-centric cards in Commander Legends, but the main reason it's moving right now is due to the fact that it can combo with Jared Carthalion True Air. Dockside Extortionist up $1.37 to $38.93, extremely popular Commander card and combo enabler in the format. It is seeing play in some new builds, Obeka Brute Chronologist. It's also in Admiral Beckett Brass builds that are running some of the new pirates from Commander Legends. Remember, those pirates in that set also have a treasure token sub-theme attached to them as well. And beyond that, this got a Command Zone podcast mention this week too. Citadel of Pain getting some more Commander play now in Urlock of Scorched Thrash builds. It goes up $1.38 to $8.68. Same story here with Dosin the Falling Leaf. This goes up $1.45 to $12.86. Mikaeus the Unhallowed, the copy from Ultimate Masters, goes up $1.46 to $36.83. Popular Commander card getting some more play now, again in new builds, Arami of the Dead Tide, for example, as well as the partner Commander Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. Training Grounds, the copy from the list, goes up $1.52 to $43.99. This is a great Commander card in Kenrith the Returned King and much more. Preacher on the reserve list, it goes up $1.54 to $88.01. If you remember, recently cards from the dark, especially reserve list cards, have been pretty hot. Feels like they're starting to cool off. This one is still going up a little bit this week though. This was a target of a buyout not too long ago, but there is some reason behind that buyout. This is a cleric, so it has seen some increased play in Commander and Aura Skyclave Hierophant builds. It's also a mono white human with a unique ability, and some players may want this for their Rick Steadfast Leader builds. Bloodforged Battle Axe, this is another piece of equipment going up $1.59 to $17. Solid commander card, but again, it is seeing more play because of some of the cards we mentioned earlier. They carry Fearless Voyager, Wireless Soul of Steel, Ardent Intrepid Archaeologist, along with Rogue Rock, Son of Roga. Sometimes you'll see them partnered together in builds with this card. Other times you'll see them partnered even with other partner commanders. But regardless, this card has been seeing a lot more play recently. Deranged Hermit from Urza's Legacy. This is on the reserve list, but it did get a printing as a Judge Foil. It goes up $1.60 this week to $28.97. And this is moving because of a new squirrel-centric secret layer. Hope you like squirrels. Painter Servant from Shadowmoor up $1.60 to $47.50. Sees Commander and Legacy play. Bitter Blossom, another card seeing more play in Commander because of new cards. Anawan the Rune Thief, the Least Reverent Medium, Gen Arcanum Weaver, Teveshzat Doom of Fools with various partner commanders, new and old. Also, this sees modern play in Orzhov Stoneblade. Dimir Control gets a little legacy play too. And it got a command zone mention this week as well. The Secret Lair copy goes up $1.44 to $44. The Morningtide copy up $1.66 to $38.93. And the Modern Masters 2015 copy up $1.71 to $39.56. Lake of the Dead. This gets commander play in a few different builds, including Abomination of Llanowar. This is on the reserve list as well. It goes up $1.71 this week to $69.89. Demonic Tutor, great vintage card, great commander card. This is the copy from Dual Decks Divine versus Demonic. It goes up $1.76 to $37.08. Sarah's Sanctum up $2.07 to $189.99. This is on the reserve list. It is great in those enchantment-centric commander builds. Also, it is seeing more play now in Gwen Arcanum Weaver decks, as well as some other new builds. Next, we have Stitch in Time from Guild Pact up $2.09 to $9.47. This is seeing additional commander play in builds using the partner commander Krark the Thumbless. Many times this is in builds where Krark is partnered with Sekishima of a Thousand Faces. Ren and 6 from the list up $2.13 to $63.93. This is seeing increased commander play in lands builds, and like we have been saying, they've been pushed by Zendikar Rising and Commander Legends recently. In Modern, though, this is in a lot of decks. Uro Omnith, Jund builds, Temur Uro, and more. Also see some vintage play. Gemstone Mine. This is also from the list. It goes up $2.26 to $13.99, and this card does get a little commander play. But in Modern, you'll find this in Ad Nauseam, Dredge, and more. Legacy, it's in Dark Depths as well as Dredge decks there too. Cover of Darkness up $2.26 to $25. This is a great commander card in Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow builds. Also, it is getting more play now in those Anawan the Rune Thief builds, as well as many of those Admiral Beckett Brass decks running Commander Legends Pirates. And like I mentioned earlier, one of those front-facing commanders from Keldheim that got leaked might be interested in this. Again, it's Larhill, Blade of the Elves. Eternal Flame, this one's on the reserve list. It goes up $2.29 this week to $10.35. Sees a tad bit of commander play, but again, this is a card that's moving mostly because it is on the reserve list. Recently, players have seen a lot of these cards jumping in value, especially ones from the dark, and I think a lot of players may be trying to pick this up in case it spikes in the future. Wheel of Fortune from Revised on the reserve list, but another card that got printed as a Judge Foil. It goes up $2.33 to $232.99. And this sees vintage and commander play. Also got a command zone mention this week too. Skyline Despot going up $2.53 to $10.47, and this is getting a push from new Commander Legends Monarch cards. In particular, this is in a lot of Commander Jared Carthalion True Air builds. Awakening, the copy from the list that is seeing increased play in Commander and Yearlock of Scorched Thrash builds. It goes up $2.55 to $15.89. Kozilek Butcher of Truth in Commander, you'll find this in Kozilek the Great Distortion, a very popular deck. Also seeing some increased play now in builds like Belby Corrupted Observer and Hamza Guardian of Arashen. This also gets play in Modern and Tron and more there. And in Legacy, you'll find this in Mono Green Cloudpost. On top of that, this is another card that got a command zone mention this week. Modern Masters 2015 goes up $2.17 to $59.97. Ultimate Masters up $2.79 to $59.34. Final Fortune from 7th edition. The 6th edition and Mirage copies are finally starting to normalize. This one is still climbing a little bit. This, of course, does see a lot of play in Obeka Brute Chronologist builds. It goes up $3.33 this week to $49.95. Deflecting Swap, part of an awesome commander cycle. It goes up $3.49 this week to $24.82. Baron Sangir is back again on the reserve list, up $3.51 to $17 this week. Now, This does see a little commander play. Sure, you might find it in like a Edgar Markov deck here or there, but really this is moving because it is on the reserve list. It was a target of a buyout not too long ago, saw a pretty extreme spike. It has come down quite a bit since then. Now this could be the beginning of a secondary buyout, but more likely I think this is just players seeing the price has come down and maybe they just want to pick it up before it goes up again. And that is a true concern, like I said earlier. A lot of players are prioritizing these cards because they think they are going to jump again in the future. Additionally, too, we did get a new card with this character on it finally after many years in Commander Legends. That is Sengir the Dark Baron. Another character that made a comeback in Commander Legends, see what I did there? This is Jeska Warrior Adept. It goes up 397 this week to 766. And this is getting a little push from that new Jeska Thrice Reborn. Also, it's been in Zagras Thief of Heartbeats builds recently, too. And for the hat trick, we have one more character that returned in Commander Legends. This is Radiant Archangel. It is on the reserve list. The card in Commander Legends with this character on it is Radiant Sarah Archangel. But we're here today to talk about this card. It's going up 27.05 to 49.99. And yes, it does appear to be another reserve list buyout. Like I said, we have been seeing a lot of this recently. As a matter of fact, this card itself was targeted for a buyout towards the end of last summer. Now it's happening again since the price has declined since then. Having said all that, this does see a little commander play. For example, you might find this in Kenji Sky Warden builds. Alright, that's going to take us to the premium spotlight. And like I say every week, I don't like to spend too much time talking about these rare cards, the promos, the foils, because if there's not a lot of sales for the card over the course of the week, you don't always get good data. Sometimes that data can even be manipulated. We've been seeing a lot of that recently. However, I like to pick a few cards every week that feel like they're moving mostly naturally with the market. I went with 3 this time. The first card we actually haven't talked about yet because the regular version wasn't moving all that much, but the Crystal Quarry foil copy from Odyssey is going up 12.27 this week to 49.44. Very solid commander card for 5-color decks. Now these last 2 we already talked about. Radiant Archangel, the foil from Urza's Legacy, is going up 12.49 to 199.99. And finally, the Mindbreak Trap foil from Zendikar is going up 24.66 to 129.99. Alright, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Market Watch. Still a pretty long one, even though it was a little calmer than last week in the secondary market. Until next time, though, hey, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.